Islam and peace and blessing. They say it's Indigenous Peoples Day. Let's figure this out right. First it was Columbus Day. Then they changed it to Indigenous Peoples Day. But they didn't tell everybody why. And half of y'all don't read the newspaper, watch the news, so you probably don't know why. So let's go back to Barack Obama was in office. Cambridge University went to the Dominican Republic. They dug up Christopher Columbus' bones and did a DNA test. He was 99% African. They ain't gonna tell everybody that part. You gotta remember, in 1492, the only people who were expelled from Portugal and Spain by royal decree was the Moors and the Jews. So Christopher Columbus couldn't be nothing else but that. That's why I keep telling y'all the 13 U.S. colonies are the 13 children of Israel. They're the Jews. The eagle done represented them their whole life in the Bible. It said will always represent them forever. The eagle. But sign symbols for a conscious mind. So they changed Christopher Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day. Because in 1492, America was not discovered. We just finally bought the European over here and they seen something they never seen before. Because it was already, it's like all them proclamations they put out all across the United States, every major city and 2 entire state governments. We're Aboriginal and Indigenous, the Moorish people. They specifically said in every proclamation, from Washington, D.C., all over the United States, they all said the exact same thing. We're Aboriginal and Indigenous is what they said. They said we was here before the Atlantic Ocean existed, when the Atlantis Islands was still there. And then brothers be so slow, they be like, oh, they just didn't have, they just did that because somebody asked them to. Man, listen. There's no way every major city in the United States of America, including Washington, D.C., and 2 entire state governments got together and said all of that about Drew Ali for absolutely no reason. And if you think that, you're slow. They could have said Elijah Muhammad was a prophet. They could have said Marcus Garvey was a prophet. They could have said Malcolm X was a prophet. They specifically stated he was the last prophet in these days, quoted what he said. And then the state of Georgia put 1 extra paragraph in it that everybody else didn't. I don't think y'all paid attention to that. State of Georgia General Assembly, House Joint Resolution 1203, 1203. And remember, Georgia was original slave state now, original 13th colony. Illinois General Assembly did a 1-2. Illinois was original free state. At the mouth of 2 witnesses, a matter is established. That's what their civil law says. That's what the Bible says. Okay, Georgia said Negro, Black, and Colored were slave names given to slaves that we made up for slaves in 1779 and last to 1865. That's what the state of Georgia said, original slave state. That's not in none of the other proclamations. Only the state of Georgia said that. And you still got these dumb niggas running around talking about Negro, Black, and Colored. You can't teach a nigga nothing. And now they call it Indigenous Peoples Day. And that's the best thing Barack Obama, that's actually the best thing Barack Obama did, though. See, the health care bill was nothing. Barack Obama signed the Indigenous Peoples Treaty. The United States wasn't signed on it, because he knows there's no such thing as Negro, Black, Colored, or none of that. So once everybody wake up, see, an Indigenous Peoples Treaty, it says you have to self-identify as indigenous. That's what I do, because I don't have no state ID. So if they ever ask for your ID or whatever, the first thing I say is I'm indigenous. So they know off top my ID ain't gonna look like what they looking for. Bam, I'm here. Then I give them my charter, scan the barcode. It'll explain everything to you. But you have to self-identify as indigenous. That's what the treaty says. And because you're indigenous, you're American. Even U.S. federal law says the only way to be American is if you're indigenous. You can cross the borderline at will. You don't have to have no passport to go to Mexico or nothing. Canada, none of that. All of them is party to Indigenous People Treaty. The United States just wasn't until Barack Obama signed it. And that's when they had went to the Dominican Republic and dug up Christopher Columbus' bones. They knew that man wasn't no European, though. The European hasn't discovered nothing. They have not invented nothing. There's nothing new under the sun. The Bible say that thousands of years ago. Ain't nothing new under the sun. Them people ain't did nothing. Peace and blessings.